Hirohiko Araki has mentioned before that when writing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he enjoys to listen to music and let it influence his work. Him trying to capture the feeling of the song, be it in either the character that are referencing the song, or in the arc that they appear in, converting these ballads into battles of sorts. And this is seen greatly with one of his most iconic arcs in Part 4, Highway Star. Highway Star is an arc that takes place during the Threats of Kira portion of Diamond is Unbreakable, where Yoshihiro Kira gifts the near-dead motorcyclist Yuya Fungami the power of the stand arrow, which in fact grants him a stand that he uses to help recover from his injuries quicker, with reckless abandon for those harmed in the process. But he does get his comeuppance in the end, with probably one of the most iconic scenes for Josuke throughout the whole part. The name of the arc isn't just based on the enemy stand that appears in the arc, but also draws reference from the song Highway Star, reflecting it in a number of ways, from its sound to its history to portions of the lyrics even mattering to some degree. So let's break down Highway Star, starting first with the feeling of the song itself. Highway Star was an uncharacteristically fast-paced song for the band Deep Purple, being the song with the quickest tempo on the whole Machine Head album that it debuted on by a large margin. Along with this, Highway Star is also credited as one of the first ever examples of speed metal, which would later become a staple sound and genre for bands like Motorhead and Metallica. The song itself is kind of structured like a thriller movie, in fact. It has a constant build of suspense from one portion of the song to the next, starting first with its opening act, of course, which is roughly 32 seconds of bass guitar solos with other instruments coming in and slowly adding to the beat until the lead vocalist comes in and moves on to the first set of lyrics in the song. Now, the opening of the song was actually done in a way to give it the same impression of a car engine starting up, with all the instruments rhythmically revving up, and this was done intentionally because the song itself is about the story of a man who loves his high-powered car and considers his car to be the fastest one around, saying that no one could outspeed him. Along with this, part of the purpose of the song was to be something that someone could put on while they are driving on a big open road as fast as they want, being heavily inspired by other songs of the similar nature, Born to Be Wild and Radar Love. And this feeling fit well with the general setting of the Highway Star fight itself, as it is a slow thriller that builds like the song, with Rohan investigating the mystery that he noticed within the tunnel, along with Josuke constantly being on the move 80% of the fight via Rohan's motorcycle. Hell, the core aspect of the fight is a battle of speed and ingenuity, with Josuke having to figure out a way to maintain his 60 kilometers an hour speed while also trying to uncover the stand user's identity. I think Araki was able to capture the feeling of Highway Star very well in the fight itself. The next portion of the song is both two sets of vocals and an organ solo, which actually is the most important segment, as it utilizes a fast ascension to descension rhythm pattern, which also plays with the harmonic minor scale, which gives the song itself a pre-romanticized sound, making it sound more rough or classical in a sense, which really fits with the sort of fast-paced tone that they were going for. Along with this, the two sets of lyrics that sandwich this solo reinforce the mindset of the fast car-obsessed protagonist of the song, which in turn fits with both the high-paced nature of the arc, but also the ascending and descending nature of the organ solo plays within this segment of the story in the Highway Star arc, as the tension keeps rising for Josuke in this fight, as he's encountering obstacle after obstacle, be it a baby carriage, him trying to identify the user, him reaching the end of the road, or even him running out of gas in his motorcycle. These are all moments that build tension on Josuke and make us question if he's actually able to outpace the stand. But with all this ascending tension, there also comes a decrease of pressure, as Josuke shows that he's able to handle this by him either breaking and reassembling the bike to get over the baby carriage, or him getting Koichi to help him by using a phone to call him, or him finding a drainage tunnel when he reaches the end of the road, or of course, possibly one of the coolest maneuvers in all of JoJo, when he launches himself into a car that he breaks open and then traps the enemy within the same car, utilizing a stand in probably one of the coolest ways in the entire series. Then we move on to the third act of the song, which is probably the most famous portion, this being where the guitar solo comes in, which, much like the organ solo, utilizes that rise of tension, but similar to a Bach-style sound, the tension continues to rise, and even when we think it's about to descend, it ramps right back up. It is a constant increase throughout the song, and this feeling is best seen in Koichi's segment of the story as he enters the hospital looking for Yuya's room, and is given a hard time, and he takes matters into his own hand, and once he gets the information he needed, right when we think we're about to reach that decrease in tension, Josuke's motorcycle comes crashing through the hospital front door, then slamming right into the elevator in the back. Koichi retails the room number to Josuke, and he makes his ascension up the elevator to the room, and right when you think we're about to reach that decrease in tension, Josuke's gonna reach Yuya without issues, he finally gets caught, maintaining that never-ending tension of that guitar solo. And then we finally reach the closing set of lyrics to the song, which continues to reiterate the information that we already knew about the protagonist of the song and cementing home his ideals. And then of course, the highway star himself is played out by a slow descent of tension from all the instruments until a sudden crash, and it's over. And we see this final portion of the song represented best when Josuke finally gets to the titular Speed King himself, Yuya, who is lying there beaten and bandaged on a hospital bed, as he's recently gotten into a serious car accident, and he's surrounded by his groupies who all spring in to defend him whenever he's challenged. It's also revealed here that he's been using his stand to suck the nutrients out of people so that he could recover faster and get back on the road. And with all this information in hand, we can make the assumption that Yuya, in part, is inspired by the lyrics of Highway Star themselves, be it, "Nobody's gonna take my car, I'm gonna race into the ground." This lyric can be interpreted as Yuya's crash, as racing into the ground can both mean racing on the ground or getting into a car accident. Then you have "Nobody's gonna take my girl, I'm gonna keep her till the end," referring to his groupies that love him unconditionally as he loves them back, so in fact, nobody's going to take his girl. Then next you have "Nobody's gonna take my head, I got speed inside my brain," referring to his stand, given that stands are partly a mental thing, and Yuya's is actually one of the fastest long-range stands out there. But most importantly, "I love it, I need it, I bleed it," referring to Yuya, at least at this portion of the song, needing his motorcycle to feel whole. This is reinforced again by the lyric that "nobody is going to take my car." And in turn, to get back to his car quicker, he sucks the nutrients out of people without giving a damn what happens to them, literally bleeding them dry, so that he can get on the road a little bit quicker. But on top of all this, you also have the fact that the song peters out at the very end, and this is seen best when Josuke recovers from Highway Star, utilizing the IV bag that Yuya didn't notice was ripped out from him, which then results in Josuke attacking Yuya, healing him, and then breaking him all over again, concluding the arc in a serious bang. And then funny enough, on top of all of this, the song Highway Star actually shares some similarities to the history and origin of the stand itself, as Deep Purple, the band, created the song as a way to replace an old song that they had grown dissatisfied with, as they had constantly been playing it as their opener for their tour. They wanted something different and something that showed off their abilities a lot more, and that old song was Speed King, which is another reference used on Yuya himself, specifically within his design. But on top of all this, the stand itself was created by Yoshihiro because he grew dissatisfied with his prior stands that he had created to kill Josuke and the gang. Along with this, the Japanese version of Highway Star is actually considered to be one of the most energetic versions of it, with people saying that Blackmore's playing was like a force of nature and created a distinctive neoclassical combination of both the spirit of Bach and Jimi Hendrix. So, this is likely the version that Araki listened to and likely the one that he took influence from. And it's absolutely shown in the Highway Star arc, as it's a complete blast to read. Probably one of Araki's best pursuit-based stand battles, and probably one of the most energetic fights of the whole series. And this is because he both utilized Josuke's stand perfectly, which allowed him to solve problems in unique ways that only Josuke could have, but also it created iconic panels. And even Yuya, when he returned later, brought with him that same energy that he had during the Highway Star arc, this being an Enigma boy, where he nearly gave his life in the process to help save Josuke and Koichi. Though if you want to see more Yuya content, specifically me covering his character, I have a whole video focusing on that itself. But I feel like this arc deserved a spotlight of its own, as I feel like Highway Star is possibly one of the best arcs in all of JoJo. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like in the future, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/MediNotTheBadGuy. Any support there helps the channel grow, it helps me keep things going smoothly here. And if you want to drive at increasingly dangerous speeds without paying no mind to the world around you because you're so fast, well, you can do so by buying a copy of Shimonetta, A Boring World with a Constant of Dirty Jokes Doesn't Exist at buyshimonetta.com.